Good morning, everybody. Happy Sunday. That favourite day of the week for most people, and bacon butties and fried egg on toast and eggs Benedict and maybe a Sunday lie-in, although I guess these days these Sundays are not quite the usual Sundays, are they? Anyway, good morning to all of you. I hope you remember to change the clocks, and I hope you're feeling okay. So here's to welcoming in Sunday, sorry. Here's to welcoming in Sunday. So I hope that you've all had a good sleep, and I hope you're all okay. I apologise about the meditation last night. Nikki said there was something about you guys switching the electric off in England, so I just thought that it would probably be better to give it a miss at the time. So maybe it's better if I do the meditations maybe earlier in the evening. So if you can let me know what's best for you, maybe to do it at 6 o'clock, something like that. Obviously we're an hour ahead in Switzerland, so whether it's your 5 o'clock or your 6 o'clock, if you want to just message me and let me know, that would be good. So, good morning. Very much so. It's a little bit overcast here. I'm not sure what the weather's going to do in Geneva today. I don't think it's going to rain, but hopefully I'll get a chance to go for a walk in the park later. So yeah, good morning to all of you. I kind of meditate through the day. I'm in 3 different groups of meditation at the moment, and obviously I'm holding this one as well. So I just use my inspiration, as many of you know, and use my intuition to show me where I need to go. So what I'm going to do is obviously going with the intuition. I'm just going to answer Tony's question here. He says, what's in the mug? So this is my Earl Grey tea for the morning. It's not vodka, it's not gin, it's not a Bloody Mary. Yeah, it's just, usually it's lemon ginger tea. This morning I am on Earl Grey because I just fancied a nice Earl Grey tea. So I'm just wondering how you all start your Sunday morning. Steve Wright used to do, I don't know if he still does, I'm kind of out of touch with everything really in England. Steve Wright used to do the Sunday love songs and the Sunday intentions for love. So here's my love in a cup. We talked about favourite things yesterday. We talked about how to make your day a favourite day. Be it putting on your favourite underwear, or drinking your favourite tea, or having your favourite meal, or your favourite lunch, or wearing your favourite perfume, wearing your favourite makeup, wearing your favourite clothes. So it's really important, especially at this time, to think about something really positive. Think about what makes you feel good. Think about what's going to make you feel even better than that, and even better than that. So good morning to all of you. I just love doing these FaceTime lives, considering it took me so much fear to get over the bump of not doing them. So yeah, I'm going to focus on forgiveness and moving on, because this is a time of reflection. A few friends asked me yesterday how I was feeling, and in all truth, because my friend's father had died the day before yesterday, it was a day of just quiet reflection, appreciation for my own parents, not just my dad, but my own parents, appreciation for everything, and appreciation for the simple things in life, I think we're all being challenged on some level at the moment, and the last thing we need is to be watching the news all the time and biting into the fear and how long is this going to go on for. And I know many people who are self-employed, because obviously I'm self-employed myself. Is my business going to survive? Is everything going to be okay? What's going to happen when all this is over? Well, we don't know, do we? So being in the great unknown for many people is a real struggle. And all we have is today. So let's just come back to the now. Let's look at where our energies are. Let's look at how we can become a better person than we were maybe yesterday, maybe last week, maybe 10 years ago, I don't know. But all of us are a work in progress. And I think, often we with other people, but we never seem to have patience with ourselves. we get really cross with ourselves when we don't get things right, when we get things half wrong or whatever. So I want you to focus on all the things that you've learned. We talked yesterday about how often we stay in our story. My husband cheated on me, she did that, he did that, somebody hurt me, I lost my job, my boss was an idiot, blah, blah, blah. Well, come on, there's been times when some of us have all been a plonker at times, I can be grumpy when I'm tired. We all have our faults, and sometimes we just need to be patient with ourselves. Sometimes we need to be patient with other people. But when we learn to be our own best friend, then we learn to be patient or more patient with ourselves, and we learn to be more patient with others. And obviously when we look at the law of attraction, the more patience we have, the more patience we have to share around. Obviously, if we're angry or frustrated, then nobody really wants to be around an angry person or a frustrated person. But these are emotions that we feel. One thing about kind of doing the teaching work that I do and running workshops and all these things is to keep it real. So many people teach spiritual things and it's all happy and floaty and hippie and let's get high and let's do this and let's do that. Well, no, sometimes we need to go back to basics. We need to reflect on our behaviour, we need to be aware of our behaviour, we need to make conscious choices. And all these things essentially come down to taking personal responsibility for ourselves. I noticed that Paul Williams, the chocolate god, is watching, and I just love Paul's chocolate. If you've never been to Chocomore, it is just the most amazing place, and he does make the most beautiful chocolate in the world. Yes, I am guilty as charged. I am a chocoholic. Not quite so much now because I've not been able to get a hold of good chocolate while I've been away. But Paul's is definitely the best chocolate. Now, Paul, I hope you don't mind me saying this, I'm only going to sing you praises. Paul was working in finances for many years, comfortable job, probably comfortable money in the bank, all the rest of it, and then life changed. And we can easily go into a depression. Obviously, at the moment, many of us are facing the unknown, as I've already said. And Paul decided to go on a course to learn how to make chocolate. And God bless him, he's won many, many awards. So sometimes, we're forced into change. None of us want change. We all like the status quo. We all like a routine. We all like the same old, same old, same old. But the golden question is it serving you? Because the only time that we actually learn is when we're forced to change, when we're forced to become adaptable. And scientists have done studies on mice. I'm not going to agree nor disagree with these things, but anyway, the fact remains that when we are forced to change, we grow what's called dendrites in the brain. So they studied some, I think it was mice or rats, and what happened was the little creatures were, in an experimental situation, and some of them were just given food to eat. They didn't need to work for anything. They were just given whatever nuts or bread or whatever it was they were given. And when they died, they checked the brain of these creatures, and the brain was as it was, and it didn't change. And then they did an experiment where the rats or mice were given a challenge before they could reach the food. So they might have to climb a branch or maybe go on one of those kind of seesaw things that they have for little hamsters and that kind of thing. So, when they studied these brains, the brains had grown a little bit. They'd got what we call dendrites because they'd had to think for themselves. They'd had to take responsibility, otherwise they didn't get fed, and they had to be challenged. So what happened was, in the third point of the experiment, they put these rats or mice in another situation where they actually had to do 2 or 3 tasks to actually get the food. There was quite a little bit more of a challenge there. And again, when they examined the brains, then the brain had grown and the dendrites, there were more of them. So, we don't grow if we're in a status quo. We don't grow if everything just comes to us. And I know from a personal point of view, and it's been a privilege to work as a therapist for all these years, the more people are challenged, when they come through that challenge, generally speaking, we're better people. It may take us a while, The butterfly doesn't come out of the cocoon straight away. The baby doesn't come out of the womb the day after conception. Like I said yesterday, we'll go back to the analogy of riding a bike. We don't learn to ride a bike straight away. So just take a moment to think about all the things that you've managed to, kind of rise above. A challenge, a change, a redundancy, divorce, relationship breakdown, maybe bereavement, a child that's left home, the empty nest syndrome, all these things. I know when Matthew left home 6.5 years ago to move from England to Australia, that was a big shift for me. And, he's a great guy. When Emily moved down to Kent, that was a big shift for me as well. And we have to adapt, we have to adjust, I wanted what's best for them, and you support your children as best as you can, and you deal with your own emotions. But we don't give ourselves credit. That's back to what I said yesterday about self-confidence, self-esteem. We often don't give ourselves credit where it's, really due actually for achieving something that is, potentially very, very important to us, and being able to move on. So what I want to focus on today, I've meditated and this is what I've been given. And many of you are aware of law of attraction and synchronicities, synchrodestinies and all those kinds of things. And I was going to concentrate on the Ho'oponopono. If you've not heard that term again, I will repeat it. It's, I was going to say Italian then. It's a Hawaiian saying, the Ho'oponopono. So the Ho'oponopono is something that's discussed at length in a book called Zero Limits. Zero Limits, Zero Limits by Dr. Joe Vitale and Dr. I'm not sure how you pronounce it, Ilalakalau Hugh Lin. It's a multi-million bestseller, so if you go on Amazon, you're not going to struggle to find it. And I do appreciate that many of you on here have probably read it. If you haven't, I would highly recommend it because I just love the book. And basically the kind of theme within the book is that everything, everybody, every opportunity, every challenge, every single thing that we attract into our lives is our responsibility. I talked about personal responsibility probably in every one of these morning conversations, but everything we attract in our lives is our personal responsibility. The good, the bad, the indifferent, the really horrible, the really challenging. I know many of us have been faced with times where we just feel that our back's right up against the wall, between a rock and between a hard place, which is very, very, very challenging. But we have a choice. Do we come back from that challenge? Do we sink? Do we swim? Do we rise above it? Do we take the learnings? So I mentioned yesterday about journals. If you do want to start a journal, I would highly recommend it. Obviously I appreciate bookstores might be closed at the moment. But if you can just get some paper, and just staple it together or something. But just brainstorm, what are all your challenges in life? Somebody's hurt you, maybe a brother or a sister's been unkind, maybe you've had the noisy neighbour from hell as I did many years ago. That was a real challenge. There are many things. An illness can be a challenge. The fact that we can't maybe do the career that we want to do. And sometimes we've just got to go around it. And like Paul did, I bet he never thought many years ago that he'd be making chocolate. And he loves doing it. So it's about finding your passion. And when we're full of the masks of society, conditioned patterns of behaviour, religious beliefs, political beliefs, and all those things, we often can't see the wood for the trees. So when we start to forgive ourselves, when we start to take the learnings from the challenges And when we start to accept, and that's a big word, accept, when we start to accept our challenges, then we start to move through them. And all of us have had times in our life where we're stagnant, where we're stuck, where we're frustrated, where we feel like we're banging our head against a brick wall. And it is, it is frustrating. You're allowed to be frustrated. I mentioned to you the other day, if you've got a punch bag in the garage, go and punch it. If you don't have one, punch the air, This is why body movement, Zumba, Tai Chi, go to a boxing club. I mean, obviously many of us are on self-containment and isolation at the moment. So think of a way that you can get rid of the anger. Sometimes, we would go and chop logs. It's not that many years ago when the farmer would go in the field and have to do it manually. And I think often now, because we don't have to do things manually, then we've kind of lost the ability to get in touch with the body. And just really, punch the air, get rid of the anger. And I don't mean that go and punch your partner's lights out. I don't want to be accused of doing anything like that, for goodness sake. But, let's apply some common sense. And basically, it's okay to be angry. It's what you choose and how you choose to deal with that. And I'm sure all of us have all been angry with ourselves at one point or another. I know I certainly have. It took me years to acknowledge that because I was always, far too often saying, yeah, I'm fine, everything's hunky-dory, everything's tickety-boo, no problem, blah, 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 blah. Complete nonsense. Some days are just shite. Some days are wonderful. Some days are somewhere in the middle, And some days we just need quiet time. One of my friends messaged yesterday to say that she was really struggling with quiet because there was a house watching films all the time, Xbox, phones, blah, blah, blah. Maybe it's an idea to make silence through the day for yourself, whether you choose to turn your phone off perhaps, or whether you just choose to go and sit in the garden in silence. That's no phone. That's not your phone on vibrate, just in case. That is nothing. Just sit in the emptiness. And I always found it interesting when I was working with clients, and I used to ask them, how long can you sit in silence? Be it watching a sunrise, be it watching a sunset, be it watching the waves on a beach. Because if we don't make time to be silent, how can we learn? If we don't make time to be silent and make time to reflect, and that's reflect in a healthy way. Could I have done something better today? Could I have, read the book I wanted to do, the book I wanted to read? Could I perhaps have used my time more wisely? Could I perhaps have told someone I loved them or rung that friend I meant to ring? Or maybe I could have dug over the garden. And how many times do we waste time on procrastinating? So, it's very easy if someone says to us, if we've hurt them intentionally or otherwise, and we say, you know what, I really shouldn't have done that. And I know when I did Reiki 2, about 17 years ago, when you do Reiki 2, you can send absent healing and you tune into the soul. And you can, send healing to a place or a person or different things. And me being me and kind of enjoying a challenge, which has probably cost me a lot in many ways over the years. But I kind of thought, okay, well, sending healing to a friend, to someone I like is easy, I can send healing to any number of you on here. Who is it I don't want to send healing to? And when I kind of sat with that thought, it was my ex-husband. And I just thought, crikey, really? I need to send healing to him after all these years? So I sat with the thought. It wasn't easy. I'm not going to dress it up. But as I sat, and when you sit and you meditate and you consciously check, does the soul want the healing, yes or no? And you ask the question, do you want healing? And you will get a resounding yes or a resounding no, or maybe you don't know. And I sat and I got a resounding yes. So I started sending the healing. And as I started sending the healing, and of course, when we send healing, all we're doing is sending love. And the more love we have for ourselves, the more love we will have for other people. So the more we berate, belittle, condescend ourselves, the more we're inappropriate with ourselves. We can't hold enough light, we can't hold enough love to really give more healing. So the question to you guys is, how can you love yourselves more? In the authentic sense, not, I've got a nice arse, I've got nice tits, I've got nice teeth, I've got nice hair, I put my lipstick on. Not in the, not in the over egotistic or overconfident or inappropriate way. In the most appropriate way. So just take a moment to do that. If you've got your journals by the side of you, make a note of that. I mean, I appreciate that you could always watch these videos again anyway, which is the beauty of them. So I want you to think for a minute about how you can love yourself more. What does it mean for you to love yourself more? And the more love you have, the more love you can share, We all love to be around someone who is very, very loving, who is very, very compassionate, who has an air of kind of peace around them. And many of you know that I was in Bali recently training with a medicine man for 8 months. And, my teacher, the only thing you would ever get from Bapa Manku was love and compassion. I mean, he was very firm with me, when I was learning something. He was quite a challenging taskmaster, but I assure you the only thing that ever was in his eyes was love and compassion. So I want you to just close your eyes for a minute and just put your hands on your heart. I'm just going to do a very simple meditation with you and just feel into that space and just listen to your own heart. How much love and compassion is really, really in that space? How much can you love yourself? Do you want to love yourself? Do you feel you deserve love? And just for one moment, for 1 minute, just feel, trust, and know that you do deserve love. Many of us on here have children. We know that we give love to our children. And we find it so easy to give love to our children. Even when they're being naughty, even when they're maybe chucking their tantrum on the floor or being cranky because they don't want to go to bed, or we've been up at night with them because they're cutting their teeth or they're not well. But we still love them. And just feel that unconditional love. And for those of you out there, I know many of you on here have trained in Reiki with me. And I'm just going to allow myself. You don't have to receive if you don't want to. Your soul knows exactly what's right for you. But for those of you that do want it, feel free to take a little bit of love from me right now that isn't mine to give anyway. It just comes from Source, God, the universe, the divine energy. Call it what you will. But just feel that love. Just connect with that love. We are all part of the oneness. We are all joined by a golden thread. This coronavirus has shown us that for sure. That every country on the planet is joined. None of us have escaped this. And all of us have been forced into a period of rest. How we choose to use that is up to us. But if we choose to use it wisely with reflection, grace, hope, trust, I promise you that you will come out on the other side a better person. Just feel that love. Don't worry if you start feeling warm or your hands start feeling warm. Maybe your heart feels like it's expanding or getting bigger. Maybe you can feel a warmth towards the back of your chest as well. Just feel into that energy. And the heart, in the true sense, as I said before, is not about the slushy mushy love. It's not chocolate, wine and roses and pacifying someone and telling them that you love them when really you might not do, expectations, attachments and conditions. It's when you love somebody even when they're at rock bottom. When you love yourself when you're at rock bottom. When you can still get up, have a shower, brush your teeth, eat healthy, drink healthy, and really start to take care of you. Now think about that love for a moment. And just as an acorn becomes an oak tree, just let it get bigger. And let it get bigger than that. And let that love in your heart begin to spread. Let it spread from the centre of your chest, going up into your shoulders and your arms, going up into your head. And allow it to go beyond the upper part of your body, so that it goes into the auric field. If you don't know what an aura is, that's okay, I'll put some photographs on later. The aura is basically the electromagnetic field around the physical body, which usually is in the shape of an oval. It's in the shape of an egg. And allow the energy from the heart space to go down into your belly. Allow it to go down into your hips, into your pelvis, into your legs, into your knees, your lower legs, your ankles, and into your feet. And imagine that from each one of your feet there is a root that grows down into the earth. And it grows deeper and deeper, deeper and deeper, down and down, more and more than that. And let that root grow down into the earth. Let that root wrap around the roots of your favourite tree, wherever it is. There's some beautiful magnolia trees here in Geneva. There's some beautiful trees in the park at Eau Vive. There's some beautiful trees around my friend Peter's house and Caroline's house. It doesn't matter where the tree is. Just feel the love of the tree. Feel the love of Mother Earth for you. And we all know that she needs healing at the moment. We've abused our planet for far too long. We've abused the trees, chopping down the rainforests. We've abused the oceans with all the pollution, especially the plastic. And we just send an apology, and a loving apology, a genuine, sincere apology, and a genuine love through our hearts, through our bodies, through the roots of our feet, down into the ground. And just feel that love, and don't be surprised if you feel a love and a connection from the earth come back to you. Just allow that energy to come back through your roots, back up through your feet, and just feel that energy. And very often when we allow ourselves to feel real love, the real deal, the real love, we can bring back what we call the soul fragments. Soul fragments are the part of us that get lost along the way because we forget who we really are. We start wearing the masks. We get told off once too often as a child. We get ignored by someone we perceive who loves us or that we wanted to love us, or someone we've been married to who suddenly doesn't seem to want us around anymore. They're all misconceptions, because in truth we all love one another. In truth, the soul has no disparity, there's no separation. In truth, we're just teaching each other And I just want you to maybe stay in meditation for a bit longer if you feel you want to. And just connect to that love from the earth. And some of you may or may not be aware that your soul fragments will begin to come back to you. Some of you may have tears rolling down your cheeks. It's okay. It's perfectly okay. I'm holding space for all of the group. I've no idea how many of you are watching. It doesn't matter. And many of you are going to watch this over again or maybe spread it to your friends. It doesn't matter. The intention is for that space to be held for anybody watching this or listening to this. But just allow those soul fragments to come back into you. They're just parts of you that have just been lost or ignored. Just as we have an old shirt in the wardrobe we don't wear, or an old pair of shoes, or a part of the garden we just can't face sorting out, or a part of the shed or the garage that we've just left to get more and more messy, more and more dirty. And you may or may not be aware that your heart center begins to feel lighter, begins to feel cleaner. Maybe your shoulders, you feel that they're lighter and brighter. And whether you choose to stay in meditation or not, and you can go back into this meditation at any given moment in time. I'm going to read a little passage to you that I would love you to embrace. So whether you just keep your hands on your heart and stay in meditation, whether you keep your eyes closed, or whatever you choose to do. I'm just going to read this to you that my friend Simon Kenyon gave me many, many years ago. And he got it when he did a workshop with a wonderfully inspirational man called John Quigley. And John worked all over the world with special needs children, children who'd been severely abused. John was such a wise man. I don't know if he's still around these days, but he was certainly an inspiration to me. So this is called Flames in the Cave, and I just love it. It's one of the most beautiful things that I've ever had the privilege to share with others. So it's called Flames in the Cave, Precious Gifts. There was once a soul whose time had come to take a human birth. And so it went to the great cavern in the infinite void where all such souls went. In the cavern were hundreds of thousands of souls, each manifesting as a small blue flame. When its time came, the soul stood up and said, "My time has come to take human reincarnation, for I have work to do and many lessons to learn. In this lifetime I shall need family and loving friends to help me, to love me and to nurture me. Who will be my friends on earth?" A ripple flickered across the thousands of flames, and shortly a few stood forward and said, "We do not know you. We have not met you before, and we are strangers. But being kind and giving is a pleasant and an easy task. We will be your friends on earth and your family." The soul spoke again and said, "And on earth I shall need teachers, people to guide me, to correct me, to discipline me. Who will be my teachers?" And once again a ripple went around the assembled flames, and a group came forward and said, "We have known you in other lives, and we have grown to respect and to like you. We will take on the task of being your teachers in life." And a third time the soul stood forward and spoke and said, "And on earth, if I am to learn the greatest gift of all, the lessons of humility, tolerance under provocation, and to love those who hate me, I shall need enemies. I shall need people to hate me, to abuse me, and to do violence with me. Who will do this for me? Who will be my enemies?" There was a very long pause in the cavern until at last a small group came forward and said, We are your soul group. We have known and loved you over eons of time, and your growth and your learning are as dear to us as our own. This is the most delicate and difficult of all tasks, and if you are to be hurt and abused, it would be better done by loving friends. We will be your enemies on earth. And that touches me somewhere deep inside. So I just want you to think for a moment, because none of us go out intentionally to hurt someone else. Sometimes through miscommunication, many things were just misunderstood. When I divorced Chris, it wasn't my intention to hurt him, but nonetheless I did. And when I used to sit sending healing, I suddenly realised my responsibility in the marital breakdown. Where had I not given the love that perhaps I should have done or could have done? Where had I not communicated my truth to him? At the time, my communication skills were very low, or, misunderstood, very immature perhaps. And when I was upset, I just went into quiet mode. I couldn't speak to him. How often do we give somebody the silent treatment? Is it serving us? Is it serving them? So just for one moment, think about how you can help yourself, about how you can be a better communicator. And obviously we have 2 ears for listening and 1 mouth for talking for a reason. So how can we be a better communicator? And I want you to think about the Ho'oponopono, the book that's rightly so a multi-million best-selling book. It's wonderful, and it is all about personal responsibility. And to everybody we meet in our life, we have a mantra. I love you, please forgive me, I am sorry, and thank you. And I started using that mantra many years ago when I started reading the book. And I've used that mantra with myself. Because there's times I need to say to myself, I'm sorry. Please forgive me. I love you and thank you to myself. And the more I've grown as a therapist, as a teacher, and I'm still growing, I'm still learning, I don't ever want it to stop, because if I ever become so arrogant that I think I know everything, just one of you go and get a shotgun and shoot me, That's a very dangerous place to be. I like learning. I like learning that I get it wrong, because then I can refine myself. So think about someone for a moment who you may have hurt consciously or subconsciously. Someone who may have hurt you, and just allow yourself, whether you say it out loud or whether you say it in your own mind or whether you whisper it. I love you, please forgive me, I'm sorry, and thank you. And the more you keep saying that, I love you, please forgive me, I'm sorry, and thank you, the more that you will change, because you will change yourself. You will become more accepting of yourself. You will release the hurt. You may have a couple of days where you feel absolutely crap because you realise and recognise what it is you've been holding on to. So I'm going to say this to all of you, and I'm going to say it to myself. I love you. Please forgive me. I am sorry. And thank you. So think for a moment about listening. Think for a moment about miscommunication. Think for a moment about listening more. All of us feel that we're not heard at one time or another. Maybe as a child, how many times do our children or loved ones or friends say, you know what, you didn't hear that, you're not listening to me. We've all had it. And who is it who says it the most to you? But when do you listen to yourself? Remember, everything is personal responsibility. If you've got someone saying to you, you do not listen, then that is a reflection. Or if you're saying it to someone else, that's a reflection back to you. So where is it that you're not listening? We all have time on our hands now. We all have time to sit quietly, to make time, to sit with our hands on our hearts, to meditate, to go out in nature. Maybe just sit with your back against the tree if you've got a garden. And if you haven't, then, unfortunately, if many of us are in quarantine or self-isolation, put your back against a tree or visualize you've got your back against a tree. No music, quiet. That's all you need. And just be. Just sit with that energy of the tree so that nothing exists, only you and the tree. And I dearly hope that as you sit with the tree, you will feel that you and the tree are one, that nothing else exists. And this is the power of being in the now, not being in the past, not being in the future, listening to what is actually here and now, being present in the moment. Now just think about that again, being present in the moment. If we're present, of course we're going to listen to people. Many of you know about law of attraction, so we have to listen to the synchronicities, the synchrodestinies, the coincidences that are never coincidences. So this morning I'd already decided to discuss forgiveness, listening skills, and the Ho'oponopono. And my friend Michael messaged to say he'd been reading the Ho'oponopono. And just try it. You've nothing to lose anyway, whether you're spiritual, whether you're not spiritual. It doesn't make any difference at all. We're all spiritual in some way, shape or form. Some people I've met say they're not one bit spiritual, but they're probably so spiritual, because spiritual just means soulful. It means you have a good heart. And if we can make the heart better, if we can all become better people by being present, surely that makes life better. So just for today, think about how you can listen more. Just for today, think about those people that say to you, you don't listen. Think about the times you say to someone, you don't listen to me. Well, start listening yourself. Remember, everything around us is a reflection back to ourselves. Everything around us is a reflection back to ourselves. So where can you listen more to the body? Does your body tell you when you know that you're eating something that's going to upset your tummy that you shouldn't be eating it? Does your body tell you when you're on your 10th pint that you've had enough? Does your body tell you at night that you're tired and you should be going to bed instead of watching the late night movie? The reason I had chronic fatigue syndrome all those years ago, and the biggest learning curve for me in many ways, was because I didn't listen. I didn't listen to my body. I wasn't aware of what was around me, but transformation only usually comes through desperation. Unfortunately. And how many of us have been in places where we've been desperate for change? But the only person we can change is ourselves. Don't be thinking, I need to change my husband, I need to change my mom, I need to change my dad. That's complete BS. You need to change yourself. Nobody else will do it for you. But of course, when we look at the vibration, as we raise our vibration, then you're going to raise theirs. Because the higher your vibration, they're going to come with you. Because it's a natural law of quantum physics. So the more you learn to listen, et voila, the more people are going to learn to listen to you. It's not rocket science. You can go and check any of this on quantum physics. The more you keep whinging about someone, the more you keep saying they don't listen to you, guess what you're going to attract? More people that don't listen. So, however you choose to use your time today listening, listen to what your body wants, listen to what your soul wants. Maybe you just want some quiet time with your favourite film, favourite piece of music. Maybe some of you play the piano or the guitar. Maybe you want to go off and write a poem or write a song, or maybe you want to go and sketch and draw and dance. Maybe you will go and sit in the garden quietly. Maybe you will visualise you sat in the garden. Maybe you will be able to go and sit with your back against a tree. Maybe you want to go on a beach and sit with the waves. I've no idea, because all of you are different, and that's what is so beautiful, that we all add to the point of being ourselves. And the more we understand ourselves, the more we accept ourselves, and the more we accept ourselves, the more we're going to accept other people. And guess what? The more they will then learn to accept themselves. And they will then spread that like a spider's web. It's going to get bigger and bigger. And now is an ideal time to make positive changes. And by taking personal responsibility and making those changes right for you, believe you me, you can change the world. And this is a time when the world is changing. And a very dear friend of mine said the other day, you know, when we come out of this, the only way forward is through the soul. Maybe there's going to be more of a need for spiritual people out there, for awakened people out there. But if all of us work on ourselves, if we all work with love in the planet, maybe if we go out there and plant a tree, maybe if we start working with the wildlife, respecting the wildlife, maybe if we start waking up and not believing that everything we are told is true, because we all know the power of the news, we all know the power of propaganda, we can all see the power of fear at the moment, but hang on a minute, where is the power of love? Some of you may be a lot younger than me, but you know, Princess Diana was the absolute embodiment of love. Now, obviously, controversially, did she get bumped off? Did she not? Well, I'll keep my beliefs to myself. If you want to private message me, I will let you know freely what I think happened. But she was raising the vibration of the planet big style, because everybody loved her. Everybody loved her innocence, her vulnerability. And we need to put some love back in the mix on this planet. We need to put some love back in our life. We need to put some love back in our homes. So what I may do tomorrow is go through some very simple exercises of how you can put more love back in your life, back in your homes, back in your gardens. And for today, perhaps, I know Julie Silver's watching this, and Julie is the goddess of spirituality and the spiritual queen of networking in Manchester. This woman is incredible. Just think about putting love into your food. Julie is a nutritionalist amongst many other things. And believe you me, having sampled many of the dishes, there's no doubt this woman puts love into her food. I'm sure she wouldn't mind if any of you want to ask her any dietary tips or health or nutritional points. I'm sure she wouldn't mind if you private messaged her. And I apologise, Julie, if that's not the case and you get inundated with hundreds of messages. So I'm going to bid you all a fair farewell. If you're still in meditation, just take 3 deep breaths in. If you want to stay in meditation after this, FaceTime Live is closed, then that's perfectly fine. None of you will die. None of you will go to sleep forever after a meditation. And if you do, it's a nice way to go. So God bless you. But I do wish you all a very, very good day. Have a wonderful day, whatever you choose to do. Remember that time is your greatest asset. At the moment, we all have more time. I did a very, very deep, I did 2 meditations this morning, but one of them, that's why I was a little bit late this morning. I just took so long to come out of the meditation. A beautiful goddess took me into a cavern on a beach, in a cave, And wow, it was just incredible. And the more you learn to meditate, the more you will train your mind, and the more you will learn to control the ego mind. That's the monkey mind. I don't mean ego in the egocentric way. So I bid you all farewell. Have a wonderful Sunday, whatever you choose to do. And I just hope that you have just awareness now of love, compassion, forgiveness. So Sarah's just come on. Good morning, Sarah. Lovely to reconnect with many of you. I usually do these in the morning. Yes, I usually put a post on my wall about half an hour, 45 minutes before I do them. I do aim to do them about 9:15, 10:15 Geneva time, 9:15 UK time. I do aim to do a meditation in the evening as well. Last night, I guess you guys in the UK were switching your electric off, and to be fair with you, I was actually really, really tired. So I curled up and had an early night. And that again is back to listening. My body was saying, listen, just rest. So think of how you can put more love into your day to day. Start reading that book that you've wanted to read. Dance in the kitchen. Put your favourite music on, put your favourite lippy on, put your favourite underwear on, put your favourite dress on. Who cares? Good grief, Treat yourself. Put your favourite shoes on, your favourite pair of socks. Think about how you can laugh more. Do whatever you need to do to make your day a brighter day. And the more you get into the habit of that, think about your habits. I mentioned habits yesterday. Your habits become all that you are. Brushing your teeth, brushing your hair, think about your habits. Eating healthy, drinking healthy. Think about the habits that are serving you. If you keep whinging and moaning about everything, if you keep watching the news, it's going to bring your vibration down. We need to get the vibration of this planet up. We need to get the vibration of everybody up. So I'm going to say good morning to many of you. Emma's on board, Sarah, Julie Silver, Daniel, Darren is here as well. Good morning, Daz. Jennifer's here, Peter Sanderson. Gosh, there's been so many of you this morning. It's been an absolute delight. I hope you got a lot out of the meditation. I hope you got some more wisdom, and I will just keep sending love and light to all of you. So if you haven't read the book, Zero Limits, yet, if you are not aware of your listening skills, then please be more aware of them. And please be aware of listening to your intuition. It's so important at this time. We need to listen to our intuition. We need to keep our immune system healthy. We need to listen when we need to sleep. Many of you have been private messaging me saying that you've been sleeping more often. There's a lot of planetary upgrades at the moment. Tony Johnson probably knows a lot more than me. Maybe Julie Silver, you could put something on my wall, because I know a little about these things. It's not my field, to be honest with you. What is that I actually feel it in the body, and generally it wipes me out. There's so much out there that's happening on a universal level, because the more we mess up Mother Earth, that is affecting the universe. Don't discredit what's going on down here. The more we kind of take personal responsibility and move and increase our vibration through positive mental attitude, positive mental thought, eating healthy, drinking healthy. None of us are perfect. Come on, I cheat. I've got chocolate in the fridge. We need to just think consciously and more consciously every single day. Be aware that you have between 70,000 and 90,000 thoughts every day. Those are decisions that you make. Do you eat? Do you sleep? Do you laugh? Do you cry? Whatever is your choice. But when we can allow ourselves to be, when we can learn forgiveness, when we can learn to find peace, Buddha didn't just kind of come across peace. He had to work for it. He meditated. He had quiet time. No one achieved enlightenment through running around like a headless chicken all the time. You know, work, sleep, work, sleep, work, sleep, work, sleep. You know, like a stuck record. It does not work like that. We need quiet time. So today is Sunday, which would, in the normal world, not that anything's normal at the moment, which would in the normal world be a quiet day. So I'm going to leave you all there. I'm going to tell you the Ho'oponopono mantra and send that as a blessing out to all of you right now. I love you. Please forgive me. I am sorry. And thank you. And always remember, one of the things that I learned through teaching and as a therapist, because I've worked with many of you and it's been an absolute joy to hold that space when we just face those times of, you know, the back's against the wall, I'm going insane. We've all had those moments. We're allowed to have those moments. They make us who we are. We are all good, bad and indifferent. We all have wonderful points. We can all be a pain in the arse. It's the way it is. We don't mean to be. But just be aware of your emotional triggers. Just be aware of who you listen to. Do you listen? Are you in the moment or are you always distracted? Think about who you need to listen to more. And for Mr. and Mrs. Egton out there, Emma and Daz, the pair of you can go and hug one another after this. And the pair of you can go and share how much you love one another and how much you listen to one another. And you know, both of you, that I love you loads. And you can give those beautiful children of yours a great big hug from Auntie Mary in Geneva. And I will no doubt see you when I do get back in the UK eventually. It'll probably be very short, but nonetheless. So, you know, just be aware of your monkey minds today. By all means, listen to the monkey mind and then send the mantra to it. I love you, please forgive me, I'm sorry, and thank you. Allow yourself, give yourself permission to have inner peace, okay? Give yourself permission to do what you want to do today. And if you do get the opportunity to go outside, put your back, sit by a tree, and if you can't, then visualize you can sit by a tree. Do something that you enjoy doing. I know Tony Johnson and Daniel enjoy feeding the birds, and I know Tony sent me some beautiful pictures of the birds, and I could hear a robin singing in the background the other day. You know, think about how you can make a difference in the day, be it feeding the birds, listening to the bird song. Think about how you can make a difference to yourself. Think about giving your children a hug. Think about colouring and being present with the children. Painting a rainbow, doing a drawing, acting silly, dancing in the kitchen. One of my friends, Joe, yesterday was saying through WhatsApp that they had a group where they were all dancing in the kitchen, in their own private kitchens. I thought that was a wonderful idea. You know, many of you have sent me notes that you're painting a rainbow and putting them in the window so that if a child or anybody passes, they can see a rainbow in the window. They know that, you know, we're all in this together. We're all isolated. We're all quarantined. It's a pain in the arse, but it will pass. Yesterday was another day nearer to getting out of this, but we have to think consciously about how these positive changes and what we've learned from this experience of silence and reflection means to us. We need to raise the vibration on this planet. We need to raise our own vibration. We need to change, because we cannot carry on as we have been. Every day is a learning curve, and think about something that you want to learn today. Think about something you want to learn about yourself. Think about your story. Like I said to you, you know, is your story serving you? Have you well expired that story? He did that, she did that, my boss was a grumpy old git, I used to hate my job, blah, blah, blah. Just let it go. It's not serving you. If you catch yourself going back into the story again and your mind's doing the repeat record, the stuckness, go back into the mantra. I love you, please forgive me, I am sorry, and thank you. And remember to say it to yourself. So I bid you all farewell. Have a wonderful Sunday. I will try and do the meditation later. I've no idea what time. If any of you want to private message me or put something on this post about recommended time, I don't mind. I do aim to do it for 20 minutes, but obviously I just go with my intuition. If it becomes 45 minutes to an hour, then I apologise if you've got lots of jobs to do, you know, cleaning the kitchen cupboards, brushing down the cobwebs, wiping your stairs, cleaning your walls, cleaning your windows. Yeah, joyful times. So love to all of you. If any of you have any healing requests, just let me know. I know I got a few last night. And Claire, I just hope that Ella feels better. So yeah, love to all of you, and have a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful day. Make it the best that you can be, because you know, with the fragility of life at the moment, we know the coronavirus is all blown out of proportion, but nonetheless, we need to appreciate ourselves. We need to appreciate those around us. So to all of you, I do appreciate you, and keep shining. Let's have those auras nice and bright. Let's have those smiles nice and bright. Let's have those hugs. And I give you all, as Tony does, you know, give yourself a huggle. Left hand on right shoulder, right hand on left shoulder. And give yourself a huggle. That's your virtual hug for today. You can have as many of them as you want all day long. You can go to bed tonight and wrap yourself up with a huggle as well. Okay, all the best. Have a wonderful day. Bye.